The FBI is digging into the Dallas shooter's background and some shocking discoveries. Take a look at this.
The shooter used the ICE tracking apps. Anyone who creates or distributes these apps that is designed to spot, track, and locate ICE officers are well aware of the dangers that they are exposing to law enforcement. It's a casting call to invite bad actors to attack law enforcement officers. It's no different than giving a hitman the location of their intended target. The media has been amplifying these apps even as we warned them it would only lead to more attacks on law enforcement.
Joining us now for our big close-up is the one and only border czar Tom Homan. Tom, these ICE tracking apps are a favorite tool of the left's, and now it's been used to plan an attack. So I think the big question is the administration going to take more action to crack down on these apps that are essentially used for stalking you and your agents?
Well, the short question is absolutely. DOJ and FBI is looking all over it. But one quick thing on Joey Jones, the John Brown group. Let's remember, when they attacked Alvarado, they shot an officer in the neck. So every one of those people should go to prison. But yeah, the apps are tracking ICE agents immediately. I mean, you got a representative in Phoenix, Arizona, that was reporting to an app where ICE was currently operating right then and there. They're on this corner and that corner. So the FBI is all over this. I do think that's a form of impediment. And as far as those who are arming and financing these groups, we have license plate numbers, we got videotape of cars delivering shields and gas masks. They're all going to be held accountable, and FBI is deep in the investigation as we speak.
Tom, Jason Chaffetz here. I went out with ICE in Salt Lake City 2 weeks ago, and it was amazing when the officers started to tell me what they had to go through and put up, everything from apps to being tracked to being doxxed to their families being threatened. It is unbelievable what's going out there. We love these men and women. But these anti-ICE agitators, they continue to clash with agents, for instance, in Broadview, Illinois, where several were arrested as the police had to use pepper bombs to control the area. Now the mayor of Broadview, Katrina Thompson, is saying that ICE is, quote, I can't believe this, making war on my community. What say you, Tom?
It's just getting ridiculous. Look, ICE is enforcing the law. I look at the numbers every single day on who they're arresting. They're arresting thousands of public safety threats that are in this country illegally. Public safety threats. You would think every mayor and governor would be calling up President Trump and thanking him for making their community safer. President Trump told me months ago, zero tolerance, Tom. He goes, if someone puts a hand on an officer, they're going to jail. They throw a stone at a vehicle, they're going to jail. Zero tolerance. And I've said it 1,000 times, I'll say it again. If you don't like what ICE is doing, then go yell at Congress. ICE is enforcing the laws enacted by Congress. They're appropriated billions of dollars a year to enforce that law. I look at the data every day. The vast majority of people in arrest are criminals. The others are, known suspected terrorists, national security threats, final orders who had due process or order moved by federal judge. They're doing what the law tells them to do. They're upholding the oath they took. So, they need to stop the hatred of ICE. I'm telling you, it's not over. I said 3 months, back in March, on one of these shows, back in March, I said, if the rhetoric don't stop, there's going to be bloodshed and someone's going to die. And they have. And it's unfortunate I'm right, but you're going to see more if the rhetoric doesn't stop. I'm glad President Trump, Pam Bondi, Secretary Noem's all taking steps to hold these people accountable. Zero tolerance.
Tom, first of all, thank you for being you, for going back into this job. You're in retirement. You're ready to put some margaritas back on the beach, and here you are taking care of our country, and we need it. This is a video of a woman confronting an ICE agent at an immigration courthouse in Manhattan, and it's making news. She's seen being shoved to the ground by one of the agents, and according to the New York Times, that agent has been relieved of his duties and an investigation is underway. I'd love for you to tell us what you know about this, explain any information you have.
Well, you can look at that video different ways. There was a pushing and shoving going on, but they also seem to be tangled up, right? Yeah. So, if she's impeding with ICE, then the officer, has a right to use use of force. But again, I'm not going to judge it. I'll leave it up to the independent OPR investigator. But every time there's a use of force, there has to be an investigation anyways. Every time. Yeah. So, I'm sure that officer filed a report. It will be reviewed by internal affairs officers. They'll look at the video from 10 different angles. But this is what happens when people try to impede ICE. This is what happens when they get in their face. And again, I'll hold judgment on this on this officer in this incident, but you're going to see this happen over and over and over again. You are not allowed to put hands on a law enforcement officer. You are not allowed to step in front of him, stop him from doing his job. So we'll see when the investigation comes out, but I have my own opinion on this.
Well, and that's the thing is, I just was at a board showing where Antifa and these groups are literally attacking, trying to kill ICE agents. Maybe if that wasn't happening, they wouldn't feel the need to take immediate action every time someone got in their face and put their hands on them. I mean, I think one breeds the other.
Oh, absolutely. And I looked at the 18 U.S.C. 111, impediment and assault of officers. We're at historic highs. So that's another message. ICE isn't, U.S. attorneys are accepting these prosecutions. ICE is going to ask for prosecution anybody that impedes them, hits them, spits on them, blocks their way. They'll be arrested and charged with 111, and U.S. attorneys are going to take every one of them. So we'll play it out in court, but I think the message has been sent. President Trump says zero tolerance. The Attorney General of the United States says zero tolerance. The number of prosecutions for 111 are sky high, record highs, and they're going to get higher. If they want to impede ICE, they're going to go to jail. I can't think of a better thing to say to them. And the more factual thing to say to them: if you impede a federal law enforcement officer, that's a violation of federal law. You will be prosecuted, and we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, a real turning of the tide there, Tom. It's Anita Vogel. Thank you so much for joining the show tonight. We so appreciate it. I want to ask you about this crazy story. In Des Moines, Iowa, school superintendent Ian Roberts was arrested by ICE after he was ordered to leave last year. Now, some on the left are portraying him as a sympathetic victim, but police found a loaded gun and a knife in his possession. And this isn't the first time that he has run into trouble with the law, with law enforcement. He was already facing weapons charges from 2020. So let me ask you, Tom, how could an illegal alien end up running a major school system? And, are there others out there like this across the country? And keep in mind, there was a nationwide search to find this person, to find the right person for the job. And this is the person they came up with.
That's being investigated right now, but this is just another example I just said a couple minutes ago. ICE is arresting public safety threats that are here illegally. This guy already had weapon charges in the country illegally. You would think everybody would be in support of this, but now you got people supporting him. It's just incredible where we are as a nation. And I've done this since 1984, and every day I wake up and I look at these reports. I'm saying, we're in a time now where the police officers are the bad guys and the bad guys are the victims. But President Trump, strongest president in the history of this nation, is going to turn this thing back around. He promised American people to make this country safe again. He promised to take illegal alien public safety threats and national security threats off the streets, and that's what we're going to do. We're going to keep President Trump's promise. ICE is going to be out there tonight. They're going to be out there tomorrow. Over 1,000 teams across this nation. We're not going to stop. You can hate on all you want. You can spit on them all you want. You're going to be arrested. ICE will continue to do this job every single day.
Tom, I love that. I would also say, I've said it many times, every time you have one of these mayors, these governors come out, push against ICE, I think you send more agents. I think you flood the zone even more. Maybe teach them a lesson. ICE is there to stay. But I want to point you to this. It's an outrageous Halloween display that's not funny at all. It was found in a predominantly Hispanic neighborhood in Houston, Texas. It shows two figures dressed in red hats, black shirts, and black masks hanging from ropes from their necks on a wooden gallows, and it's also topped with a Mexican flag. Now, the left is going to say this is just good old free speech, but given all the hostility and assaults against your ICE agents, what do you think of something like this?
I'm disgusted, and I'll say it again. You have the right to protest. Everybody has a First Amendment right, and I support that. But when you cross that line, you're going to go to jail. You're going to be prosecuted. Look, people need to understand assaults against ICE officers are 1,000%. And I've worked with these men and women since 1984. They're fathers and mothers too. They're sons and daughters. They have children. They come to work every day, put a Kevlar vest on their chest and put a gun on their hip. That's the tools of their trade. And they put themselves in danger every single day to make the community safer. Everybody should be supporting ICE, whether you like the politics of it or not. Again, if you don't like what they're doing, go scream at Congress, change immigration law. But these men and women are patriots. I said it the other day. I've handed too many folded flags to Border Patrol agent spouses and children, ICE spouses and their children. These are the finest men and women this country have. They don't make a lot of money, and they're putting their lives on the line to make this country safer today. Protest all you want. It's disgusting. But you got to control the hate, or more people are going to die. That's not a threat. I'm telling you, I've seen this movie before. I've been doing this for 41 years. It has to stop, or there's going to be more bloodshed.
Border Czar Tom Homan, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for all that you do. We certainly appreciate you and all those agents out there doing the Lord's work. Thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thank you.
All right, guys, I want to open this up to the table. That was really moving to me there at the end, Joey. And I think it's easy for those on the left that are so riled up about President Trump's zero-tolerance immigration policy. It's very easy for them to just see ICE agents, and they don't think of them as fellow Americans, right? They just think of them as this boogeyman that they hate because they hate President Trump, and somehow they've decided they're for the illegal aliens, even the worst of the worst. But the point that he brought up, they're enforcing the law that the folks in Congress make. So why don't Democrats win an election and change the law?
They're not just enforcing a law that the folks in Congress made. They're enforcing a mandate that the American people gave President Trump when he took office. You know, there's a lot of semantics when it comes to landslide victory and overwhelming, and you can take the numbers and deduct them any way you want to. I don't have conversations with people of any political affiliation that didn't acknowledge the problem at the border. When you get into the nuance, when you peel the layers of that onion back and you find out that as many people came here illegally during the Biden administration as the 2 or 3 previous administrations before it, the exacerbation of that problem took the ability to use a surgical tool away, and it made a meat cleaver the only thing you can do. You have to reset the playing field in deportations and in securing the border in order to go back and do things like DACA or visa, or, you know, decide who should stay and who shouldn't. I think one thing that happened in this, and I would love to have asked Tom this, and I should have, is I feel like there were 2 things happening at once. They were told by the president, take the worst first. They were also told by the president and his administration, hey, we need to get those numbers up. You need to be doing your job. So, of course, there's going to be hiccups along the way. There's going to be a sob story here, a sob story there. And I do feel for people at the end of the day. But if you came here illegally and you broke our laws, legally, you can be deported, and that's what they're doing.
I think that's a great reminder. We were just showing that Halloween display, and it's so hard to see. It's so disgusting. I guess I'm not surprised by it, but you spent time with ICE agents just a couple of weeks ago. You see how difficult their jobs are. When you're spending time with them, is the morale still high, Jason, even with all this hate out there? Because I feel like on the one hand, you have stuff like this that's disgusting, that's got to be hard on the morale. But then on the other hand, you have a Trump administration that has their back 100%. So did that kind of balance out for those agents you spent time with?
Well, you hit on it, Tommy, because the fact that they have Donald Trump as their president, and they have people like Stephen Miller and Kristi Noem and Tom Homan, people like that in place, buoys them up. They're really excited about this. I want to address the Congress thing because I was elected in 2008, same time that Barack Obama came in. You know what? The Democrats had the House, the Senate, and the presidency. Yeah. And I was on Judiciary, I asked to be on the Immigration Subcommittee. And guess what? For 2 years, the Democrats, you know how many hearings we had? 2. One was to take a class photo. The other, guess what we did? Stephen Colbert came and testified. You can look it up. Wow. That is the honest-to-goodness truth. They could have changed it, but they didn't change it. And now they all complain about it, but they were part of the problem. They never addressed it. And the single biggest thing that changed is Donald Trump locked down that border, and now they're apoplectic because they can't just bring these people back in.
And they can't win elections either.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.